Hey everybody, it's Michael B. Tonight, we're going to be talking about Arcade1Up. What's more important? Is it the cabinet, or is it just being able to play the game? Anyways, thank you so much everybody for tuning in. This is Chill and Chat with Michael B. Wow, my volume was going all over the place there, guys, so tell me if I'm too loud. Sorry about this. Anyways, thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in. I see Dan Z there. This better be better than WWE Raw. I promise you it might be. Vic Vicious, Brent S., Yexon, Peter McNabb, Jason. I saw, oh, wait a minute. Let me get the chat up here. Fool. I saw earlier my buddy Charlie Chuck, formerly WKRP in Cincinnati, Yexon, Mike Hawkhurts, better be worth the wait. I hope it is, brother. Jason, and Made in Canada. Yeah, Floppy Disk Master. Everybody, thank you so much for tuning in tonight. So, this is one of the harder thumbnails I ever got to make because... Oh, thanks, Console Fanboy. Hey, Chris Zeke. So, How to Bachelor. Thank you so much for the super chat, brother. Get down here and bring it up. Thank you so much for the super chat, brother. I don't know if I'm the man. That might still be Becky Lynch or Ric Flair. Poor Ric Flair. Ric Flair is going through his 5th divorce, apparently. Him and Fifi, the maid, broke up today. So very sad. But thank you very much, Out of Bachelor. Mike Hawkhurts, member for 6 months. That's fantastic. Thank you so much. Hey, Zodrider, what's happening? So, I'm a little off track here. Those volumes was a bit low. All right, thanks. Thanks, No Money Ranger. So, this is one of the harder thumbnails and titles I ever had to make because it's such a confusing concept here. So, what's more important when it comes to an Arcade1Up cabinet? Is it the cabinet or is it the game? And I'm going to be honest with you, this is coming for some personal dislike. You guys know I did a video last week about a Smash TV cabinet coming out. I fully believe it's going to be Smash TV. It's going to have a host of games, being one that I've always wanted to see on an Arcade1Up cabinet, Robotron 2084. However, maybe I'm being a little bit selfish. Maybe I'm being a little bit, I don't know what the right word is here, spoiled. But I want a Robotron 2084 cabinet, and I've got to ask the question, do I still want to purchase a cabinet, an Arcade1Up, with Robotron 2084 on it, if that's not the marquee game? Is that really important to me? And we get to a chicken and an egg question here. Am I better off just having a multicade at this point? Because it's essentially almost a multicade experience when you're not playing it on the original cabinet. Now, maybe that's just my opinion. I wanted to ask you guys what you think. What's more important? And I went to a very drastic example with the thumbnail where I showed Paperboy. People have been asking Arcade1Up for a Paperboy for as long as I remember. And this past year, we got it. You can play Paperboy on an Arcade1Up cabinet. But it's on the Midway Legacy cabinet, and the controls are just so wrong. So that's the extreme example. Obviously, Robotron is a little bit different, but there we go. Vic Vicious. Just when I thought I couldn't hate Roman Reigns anymore. You know, I watched some of the Royal Rumble. I watched the Rumble with my wife, and it's just so sad that the entire event was designed to cater around Roman's storyline. Obviously, Brock's involved too, but like every single match pretty much was catered. The Men's Rumble, the WWE title match, and the Universal title match was all catered towards getting Roman and Brock to WrestleMania. Nothing else means anything. So that was different. Anyways, let's start it off with a really good, Sam Newsman brings it up here, game is more important than cabinet. If that's the case, why not just buy a multicade and be done with it? But I'll throw it up there. I'm going to ask a poll right off the bat. And then we'll go through a bunch of discussions about what you guys want. But what is more important? I hope I did a good enough job explaining it. Someone said controls are what key. That's specific games. 100% agree. All right, so we'll put the poll up there. Cab art, wait, here we go. Poll is up. Cab art, way more important. Imagine playing T2 on an Aerosmith gun cab with Aerosmith artwork, and you're a T2 fan. See, Danzy, I don't think they can do this because everything's pre-produced, right? I wish they could. That would be amazing, but I don't want 5,000 games, but want 12. Yeah, that's fine, Peter McNabb. Listen, guys. Multicade doesn't have two-player twin sticks. That's true. That's true. Jay Reed says, I can play Robotron on a twin stick Smash TV, but I won't play Paperboy with a joystick. So I guess the cabinet is more important than the game. And Brent S says the exact same thing I'm thinking right now. Like, I really want a Robotron cabinet. But to be honest, I have Robotron back there on my Legends Ultimate cab, and it plays with a twin stick setup, and it works really, really good. So I already have a working version of Robotron that works really well. Why would I buy another cabinet that is basically, Robotron's going to be a secondary game? Basically, Arcade1Ups outside of the main game are a multicade. Chucky Shea says both game cabinet and controls. Ryan R. says, I think after what we have seen with Tron and T2, you'll see more one-game specific cabs with unique controls. Game and cab are like cake and frosting. They work together. Cabinet graphics can also be changed if that is the only thing wrong. Sort of. Because you got to remember, it's a little bit different now because Arcade1Up, the biggest problem is Arcade1Up, you can get stuff to cover up your deck, your side panels, but you would have to get a third-party marquee that doesn't really match Arcade1Up's marquees. But now that they're moving to like T2's marquee, gives me hope so someone else can jump in there. But again, I'm paying $1,000 in Canada now for an arcade. I don't really want to have to spend like another $200 to $300 to put it in the right art I want. But the Smash TV controls are not Robotron authentic, so Smash TV cab makes sense. It makes sense for the people who want that. But me, I don't have any nostalgia for Smash TV. Let's not get stuck on that. Let's focus on the main question. Like, what's more important to you? I'll phrase this a different way. Like, P-Dubs wants a Q*bert cabinet. That's all he wants. It's his biggest want in the entire world, is a Q*bert Arcade1Up. So say, for example, you're P-Dubs, and you want that Q*bert Arcade1Up. Arcade1Up delivers, you can play Q*bert, but it's on a cab that you don't want the artwork on, that you already got. Like, it's on a, I don't know any other Gottlieb arcade games. So let's just say they put it on another Pac-Man variant. So you would have to buy another Pac-Man in order to play Q*bert. So you could play Q*bert on an Arcade1Up, but you don't get the Q*bert artwork. Is it the same thing? See, Jeff, this is where I'm laying right here. Because, like, I currently have Centipede on my Arcade1Up Atari Legacy, but do I really have Centipede? Because the screen is wrong. And I don't have the right art. So if they came out tomorrow with a dedicated Centipede, Millipede, maybe throw something else on there if you can find another Atari vertical screen game, and then the right Centipede artwork on the outside, I would probably buy that cabinet again. Schned says Robotron all the way. The game, period. So here's the question, Deathor. if it's just the game you only care about, why not buy a multicade? Weapon X says, I bought Big Blue for the Darkstalkers collection. Yes, they have the caveat of playing online. The Qbert joystick won't work on a Pac-Man. Come on, Jay. Do you not remember the Burger Time fiasco? Time Pilot is on the Frogger cabinet, even though Time Pilot doesn't have the right joystick. Need arcade accurate cab for all my wantless games. There we go. Both are important. Or build a multicade. Yeah, this is... I'm kind of at a loss here. I don't really know what the right answer is. I don't want to seem like I'm spoiled. What is Qbert? And Ritual Della says, Michael B, that's why I prefer multicades. All right, so I'm going to go up. I'm going to bring up the poll here. End poll. And you know what, guys? It's interesting from the Arcade1Up fan base that are watching this channel. It seems to be split down the middle. Art Davidson, that's not true. I haven't bought every cab. I've bought a lot of them. Haven't bought any cab this year, Art Davidson. Yeah, Weapon X, if you're not 100% about it, don't do it. It's okay. We're all a little spoiled, but it's not spoiled. I'll ask you the fundamental question. I've always wanted an Arcade1Up Robotron. So they're releasing Robotron on a Smash TV cabinet, but it's not really a Robotron cab. So that's where I stand. I go back to the Paperboy. Paperboy's an extreme example. Another one is Defender. Hell, they've even released a Defender Arcade1Up cabinet that still doesn't have the right controls. It still has Mortal Kombat controls. Still does. So even though they've had a dedicated Earth Midway Defender cabinet, it still has the wrong controls. Audiomorphous says, why is it so hard to get the screen orientation with just the correct games included? See, this is the problem with Arcade1Up because they look like they're dedicated cabinets, but in essence, they're mini multicades. They're mini licensed multicades. So what happens is you have an Atari Legacy. So you're going to have a mix of vertical and horizontal games because that's what people want. People want Tempest. People want Centipede. People want Millipede. But if you want 12 games, which is what the fan base is asking for, we need more games on these cabs. Well, they're kind of out of luck. Every game else that they're going to put on it is on a horizontal screen. And I've asked John D about this. He's been very honest about it. It's a matter of 80-20. I mean, do you go with a vertical screen and then have 80% of your games squashed up into a little 13-inch screen on the vertical screen, or do you go the other way? Andrea F., they don't typically do that. They've done that for legacy cabs, but not standard cabs. I've never seen a standard cab come out with a different skin, ever. I've seen legacy cabs, but never a standard cab. Tony Nugget says, I bought 7 Arcade1Up in the last 3 months, all on sale, having a blast. I still to this day envy those people that can jump in and get those great sales. So congratulations. That's a great way to build up the collection. And yeah, it's fun. When you're in the process, you've got room, you're getting them for good deals. That's a good time buying. Without the game, all you would have is just a cabinet. It's easier to build a cabinet around a game than to make a cabinet. No, Hobby Hands. You're reading this wrong, brother. You're reading this wrong. That's not what I'm asking. It's not one game. It's what's more important to you, seeing the game you want on a cabinet or seeing the game you want on a cabinet that makes sense for the game you want, that has the game art you want. Do you understand what I mean now? Simply put, the cabinet artwork for Marvel vs. Capcom is what made me pull the trigger. It was incredible and matched my man cave. That said, game variety adds so much value. I got to go back and read it because it's a longer message. And of course, it's gone. I can just bring it. Oh, there it is. Simply put, the cabinet artwork for Marvel vs. Capcom what made me pull the trigger. It was incredible and matched my man cave. That said, game variety adds so much value, so have to pass on T2. And see, different people want different things. I also understand that I'm coming at this, and thank you so much for the super chat, BCB147. Really appreciate it, brother. I also understand it that I'm coming at this from a bit of a different and privileged perspective in the fact that I don't just do Arcade1Ups. I also do multicades. So I play games on multicades, but I also really like Arcade1Up. And maybe my collecting habit is different. Maybe instead of just getting a bunch of games in an arcade, I'm buying for the look and the overall aesthetic along with the games. And I'm very different in the fact that mainly the only game I'll play on my Arcade1Up cabinets is the marquee game, and not everybody's like that. So for the, arcade hardcores that are going to buy tons of us, maybe that's my perspective and that's what people I'm interested in, but they're looking at this a different way. They're trying to get the mainstream appeal, and some people are like, hell, I'm going to buy one cabinet, I buy a Pac-Man, and it'd be great if there was 15 other games on it. So maybe that's the mindset. I don't know what the right answer is here. Tony Nugget, a lot of people watching, not a lot of people liking. Hit that thumbs up. That's okay, brother. If you want to hit thumbs up, you can. No big deal. Jason, I usually have all my cabs on in a track mode. I rarely play. I like the ambience, the nostalgic trip down memory lane. I'm going to be honest, I do play them a lot, but I also have that. Like, sometimes I'll actually just sit in my arcade. I'll throw on some 80s hair metal. What do they also call it? Crotch metal sometimes. And I'll just take myself back to a different time, and I can just kind of hang out in there. 9 Scorpions, what Tony said. Let's go see what Tony said. I can't find what Tony said. The T2 cabinet's my favorite next to Tron. I've got wicked T2 FOMO. You're going to be hearing a lot more about that. I was at the Brick earlier today and asking if they had any in stock. 0 in Newfoundland, but they had 12 in Halifax. If they had 1 in Newfoundland, I might be doing a different show tonight talking about how I bought a T2. I don't know. I'm just going through a personal dilemma where I have spent the last 2 years saying I want a Robotron cabinet. And in a way, I'm going to get a Robotron cabinet in the fact that I can play it on an Arcade1Up, but it's not going to be a Robotron cabinet. So I'm in a little bit of a weird place. And I've tried to make this shot through the heart, and you're to blame, Michael B. Rocking. Well, a lot of it is more some Bon Jovi, but more of it's like, I really like Dokken, Warrant, LA Guns, stuff like that. No, Tony Nugget, still no luck with my Tron problems. Now, I never had the broken joystick. What I had was a different problem where basically my trigger stopped working. So I'm lucky enough I haven't had the broken joystick, but I still don't have an answer to my trigger button. B-Kong was nice enough to actually send me, yes, Rat, Round and Round. That's a big favorite. Where in Newfoundland you at? I don't like speaking that way. Gander, St. John's, you don't have that classic Newfoundland accent like my cousins. No, I pride myself on trying to speak normally. Not that there's anything wrong with it. It's funny because whenever you see somebody from Newfoundland, like where I live, if somebody's on the news, they go around and they pick out the person. They're like, which person has the sharpest, most Irish/Elvish accent? And they say, that's the person we need to ask about this news event. And also when they do shows, you'll never see a Newfoundlander with a slight accent like me. You'll always see someone with the absolute massive hard accent. Okay. I like the cabinet to match the game, so I go with the cabinet as preference. I play 80s music while playing my 80s cabs. Love it. I go back and forth hobbies hands. I'm on a big 80s hair metal kick right now, but I used to have just like an arcade mix, so I call it like androgynous music. I'd have a lot of, that 80s stuff like Patti Smith, The Warrior, and then Duran Duran, View to a Kill, a bunch of stuff like that playing, but now I'm on more of a hair metal kick. Yes, there it is. He knows what I'm talking about. Instead of saying it was hard, someone from Newfoundland, who the news people look for, would say, Lord Tundran Jesus by. Like, we have a show now, one of these, home living network shows, and it's rock solid builds, and it's about these home builds from Newfoundland, and you swear every single person on that show is got the hardest Newfoundland accent I've ever seen, but that's what people want. People expect that from Newfoundland. Why is there a town in Newfoundland called Dildo? I have no idea. Having the game I want with the proper artwork on the cab, but if I can't have my cake and eat it too, I'm okay with a game on another art style. Yeah, a lot of people are, and I think a lot of that leads to whether or not you care about. Some people just want an Arcade1Up where they can just play a bunch of stuff, and it has cool artwork, and as long as it looks good, they're fine. But other people are, I don't know, right word, looking for the right cabinet. Like, can you imagine getting a cabinet for Tron and it not looking like Tron? You could play Tron on it, but it doesn't look like Tron. Would it have the same appeal? Would you still freak out to go get it? Paul Minderman knows exactly what I'm talking about. Cabinet wins over game every time. What good is a game without the right controls? That's going a little bit further, but yes, 100%. It has to have the right controls. But I'm also saying, like, if you have a favorite game you want, it also has got to have the right artwork. And I might be missing my point here. I'm not trying to slam on Arcade1Up, but what I'm saying is I want a Robotron cab. I don't have a lot of interest in Smash TV. They're releasing a Smash TV cab, which I don't have interest in it, but Robotron is on the cabinet. Me wanting a Robotron cab, is it being included enough for me to buy the cabinet, or do I still wait until hopefully they eventually make a Robotron cabinet? Do you understand what I mean now? It's so funny how we all have our one must-have cab. Cubert, Robotron, this is why we should never shame anyone for what they like. It's all personal. And Zohar, you are a perfect example of this, brother. Thank you so much for the super chat. Everybody knows for years Zohar has been campaigning with Arcade1Up. Please give us a proper-looking, proper controlling Mortal Kombat cabinet with the artwork from Mortal Kombat 1. And you're lucky enough that after many years of waiting, you're going to be getting it this year. Sans Johnny Cage, but not that big a deal. So you know exactly what I'm talking about. They've come out with a variety of Mortal Kombat cabinets with Mortal Kombat 1 on it, but it wasn't right until it was right. Would prefer the original Robotron artwork, so I'll probably wait. And I'm not trying to sway Arcade1Up and what they're doing at all. That's not the point either, because I also don't want to be sour grapes on all the people that want Smash TV. I'm so excited for Smash TV. I think that's fantastic for the people that want it. It's just not something I want. Zohar says he's excited, but I want to go back to this other comment right here. Dedicated tapper with beer holders. And that's another great example of this. I've said for years, I wanted to see a tapper cabinet. And we do have tapper. I have tapper down in my arcade, my Arcade1Up arcade right now. I can go play tapper. And you know what? It plays pretty well on the Midway Legacy cab because, again, you use the dual sticks. You can use a button, but I pour and all that stuff. So it plays okay, but I don't consider I have tapper. If they came out with an Arcade1Up dedicated tapper tomorrow with the right artwork and the actual beer tap controls, I would be all over it. That's what I want. I have tapper in my arcade right now. I can play it, root beer tapper, but it's not what I want. Sour Beat the Game Genie. I'm not trying to be Yes, Mitchell B says, yes. Sulpress, Robotron is kind of boring, cabinet art-wise. 100%. Some people have that opinion. They're like, I would rather Smash TV art. And that's cool for you. That's not the question I'm asking. I'm not trying to change Arcade1Up's mind. I'm trying to say, if I want a Robotron cabinet, a dedicated Robotron cabinet, that's what I've always wanted, but I'm not going to get it, but Robotron's going to be featured on another cab. Is that enough for me to buy the cabinet? And I'll ask the question a little bit different. Say you guys out there have a favorite arcade game. I'll give you an example. 19K Fox desperately wants Alien vs. Predator Arcade1Up Cabinet. An Alien vs. Predator Big Blue. So Arcade1Up are going to release another Capcom Legacy with Street Fighter artwork, but it's going to have Alien vs. Predator on it. Is that enough in order to get 19K Fox to buy that cabinet because the game's just on it? Or is he going to be disappointed because he's not getting exactly what he wants, which is the cabinet with the right art? It's a weird thing, man. That's not the question, P-Dubs. I asked this for you earlier. What if Arcade1Up did, in fact, release a Q*bert? Because they do have the license to Q*bert. We know that. They have the license. And they have the license to Q*bert, but they released it on another cabinet, and it doesn't have the Q*bert artwork. You could just play it. It's like a packing game on a cabinet. Would that satisfy you? Sure, you can play it on an Arcade1Up, but can't you already play it on a multicade? Not with the right controls, I know. It has diagonal controls. Exactly. And there's the other thing. I realize I'm spoiled. And Sulpris, I would disagree with you until now, because Arcade1Up, it was always, you could reskin it up to about 90% because the marquee always had to be different because nobody made third-party marquees exactly like Arcade1Up marquees. But now that Arcade1Up are going to just the piece of plexi, the piece that you put in, like on Terminator 2 and like on the pinball cabinets, it should be easier to do. So yes, I can reskin it. But again, I also don't want to spend another $300 to reskin it after I just spent $1,000 on a cabinet. Gabriel Gray, I will tell you, that will never happen. It's a great idea for the people who want to make their own, but yeah. But everybody has had a multicade, and we all know that's not good enough. Paul, I got to go up and find your previous comment. You can't just have the game on it. That's a multicade. It has to be the right controls, and then hopefully Arc Cab design as well. Paul Minderman, we are so vibing tonight, you have no idea. Assuming you can't get the game you like anywhere else with the art for that game, then yeah, I'm okay buying that. Gauntlet, Defender, Joust on the Rampage cab are good examples. Are they? That is like the worst example. I'm just busting you a little bit here, but yeah, I had the Rampage cabinet, and it's really good. Rampage is really good on it. Controls are a little tight for 3-player, but nobody's going to play 3-player. Defender is a nightmare on it, though. It's so hard to play Defender. I mean, that's one that's a little bit hard because the controls are so bad. But I did enjoy playing those other games on it. I don't know what you're asking. Is it if it's the only way I can get Joust, then I'm fine with getting Joust. But that's where I'm really having trouble with this, because there's other ways. Like, you have Arcade1Ups, which I'm not like everybody. Some people want to buy an Arcade1Up because they only want 1 or 2 arcades, and all the other games are extra cream. But if you're a big Joust fan, and you can't buy a Joust dedicated cabinet, why not just buy a multicade and play Joust on that? You're already getting a cabinet that doesn't have Joust artwork, so what difference does it make? See, it's such a weird question. I always phrase this as a chicken and the egg. Well, that's it. Night over. He's got the exact right point. If you can't be with the one you love the one you're with. But Michael B., is it feasible to think they would make Smash and Robotron? I'll get angry if they make Robotron after I get Smash. No, I don't think it's feasible. I think realistically, we're getting a Smash TV. I'm sad, but at the same time, I'm happy for everybody who wants that Smash TV cabinet. I'm going to be honest with you, it's a beautiful cabinet, and there is a dedicated Smash TV fan base out there. In terms of mainstream appeal, maybe Smash has more mainstream appeal than Robotron does. Robotron's more for classic arcade enthusiasts, but at the same time, I mean, it wasn't the mainstream that bought that Tron cab. No, sir. It was the classic arcade enthusiasts, and that's why Tron did as well as it did. So if they do make a Robotron, I think it would have the same level of success. Don't most multicades come with a 16.9 screen? Yeah, that's true. 100%. Like, you look at the Legends Ultimate behind me. But the 16.9 screen, especially when you do the conversion down on the sides where you put like the side art up, your screen on it's 19 inches. So it's actually a little bit bigger when it comes to the 4x3 piece when it's all done than the Arcade1Up itself. Sure, it doesn't look as good as an Arcade1Up, in my opinion, with the 4x3 square screen. So yeah, I get what you're saying there. If friends on the cab, Tron is an exception where you must have the artwork. It depends on you. Yes, Peter, that's kind of what I'm saying here. Like, for me, if I can't get a Robotron cab, I don't know if I really care about buying an Arcade1Up that has Robotron on it, if I'm not in love with the other games as much as the main game. Sulpress. No, they didn't announce a Smash TV. I'm just running this in the ground because I know one's coming out. We all know one's coming out. I want the world. I want the whole world. Don't care how. I want it now. Yeah, Eric Davidson, you're making a good point here. My wife will be happy I'm not getting the Smash TV cab. Yeah, Arcade1Up's actually doing me a favor here now, I guess. I agree, Michael B. Ridge Racer will be the sleeper hit of the summer. I didn't say that. Tron had the benefit of the movie popularity Robotron wouldn't do as well. I don't know, Kongs. I come from a place watching like classic arcade collectors, and Robotron is like one of the most desired cabinets, so I think there's a lot more interest. I don't think that there's a bunch of people out there that just bought Tron because they watched Tron Legacy. I don't think that's a fair point. And honestly, Kongs, you know this as well as I do. There's no way to gauge the impact of marketing. What you're talking about here is a variable on what marketed the cab and drove sales, which is almost impossible to verify. And by almost impossible, I mean 100% impossible. Zodwriter, the Defender Partycade is the best cabinet Arcade1Up has ever released. But yet they still haven't done a proper Defender cabinet. If they made Defender, that stupid Midway Legacy reskin Defender, with the right Defender controls, with that game list on that Partycade, they would have had a Rockstar on their hands. And I would have a Defender Arcade1Up cabinet in my basement now, despite already having a Midway Legacy. Man, Astra, I'm going to mod that Ridge Racer so hard when it goes on clearance 3 weeks after it hits store. You know what? You might be surprised about that. Like, I'm gonna throw this out there. Right now in Canada, the stores are actually having trouble keeping up with the demand for stock on these new waves of Arcade1Up cabinets. So for the people saying, well, these games aren't as interesting and they're so much more expensive, they're still selling. I don't know what to say. Yeah, for Defender, that's 100% it. The controls are the issue. P-Dub's Arcade Loft is also trying to piss me off, apparently. Robotron will be an Arcade1Up direct purchase. I don't see retailers picking that up. See, and that's... P-Dubs has got the right of it. This is why I'm never going to get what I want here. He's right. It pisses me off, but he's right. 100% right. That's the problem. Because Arcade1Up's not just selling to me. They're not selling to WKRP in Cincinnati, which is... Oh, where are you? I got to see the name. Charlie Chuck. They're not selling to Charlie Chuck. They're selling to Walmart. They're selling to Target. They're selling to Best Buy. And I'll go back to Final Fight. A couple years ago, they released pictures of Final Fight cabinet when Wave 1 released. And I was determined, the only two cabs I was going to get at that time, if I could get two, The one I wanted more than anything else was Final Fight and then Street Fighter 2. And then Final Fight never came out because the retailers wouldn't pick it up. They didn't think it was that cool or people would want it. Now, eventually Arcade1Up came out and was actually a hit, and then they had more leverage. So, yeah, they pushed Final Fight out in Wave 2, but they couldn't get it out the first time. So it's hard for them to come in, two people that aren't ensconced in this niche hobby to some aspect, and say, hey guys, we've got this cabinet, Robotron 2084, classic arcade, people love it. How do you sell that to a boardroom of people who don't want this? And P-Dubs brings up another good point here. Sorry, Mike, retailers broke both our hearts. They don't want Robotron or Q*bert. Arcade1Up Direct. Let's do this. Solidarity, brother. Walmart told me they love Gorf, Robotron, and Sinister. And I'm not that familiar with Sinister. I know that's been really big lately. I know Justin talks about Sinister a lot. Ralph and his crew were talking about Sinister, but I don't have the experience. Now, Gorf and Robotron? I would love that. Yeah, I think P-Dubs has more hope than I do. I know there's a Smash TV cabinet coming. I know. And I know Robotron's going to be on it, so I don't think down the line we're going to get a Robotron cabinet. But on the other side, Arcade1Up do have the Q*bert licenses. Q*bert is marketable enough. I mean, if they caught it a couple years ago, especially when Pixels came out, we all know Q*bert from Pixels. So I think they could do it. Mitchell B says, oh, Sinister is a win. All right, I'll try it tonight. My plan tonight, can't believe people bought Frogger. Hey, leave me alone, Bob Oif. That Frogger, if there's a lot of problems, but this is a good cab. Zodrader says, Sinister is on the Defender Partycade and it plays perfect. I want to play the Battletoads Beat 'em Up. Battletoads Beat 'em Up tonight after I finish this. I started playing it a little bit on my Legends Ultimate last night. Tried out. I had never seen it before. And I started playing it, and it was badass. I don't remember it being this good. So anyways, I want to play through that, but maybe after I'm done that tonight, I can find some time to play Sinister and kind of form my own opinion on it. Yeah, 100%. They totally have the retail license. John D has mentioned it countless times on podcasts and times when I'm talking to them. They have Q*bert. They don't know what to do with it. The problem with Q*bert is they run into a T2 problem where you can't put a lot of games on it, so you can only do Q*bert and I think Q*bert Cubes, where it has the diagonal joysticks. And then on top of that, like P-Dub said, finding retailers that want it. Sinister might need proper 49-way joystick, kind of tough to play otherwise. Well, apparently it works on the Defender Partycade, but yeah, and Ritual Dello 100% agree. It's the same with Time Pilot. Time Pilot is totally playable on my Frogger cabinet, but it's not right. But I still like it. New Battletoads on Game Pass was okay. It was a fun, nostalgic trip back, but when I was done with it, I was like, that was neat. I'll never play this again. Hey, P-Dubs, where are you going? Are you coming here? What are you going to leave the house in 10 minutes for? JJ says the same thing. I think we'll eventually see. They have the rights to Q*bert. Maybe we'll see it in a Partycade or in a Countercade. Kind of like what they did with Dig Dug. The first time around, they had Dig Dug. They didn't think they could sell it as a standalone cabinet, so Countercade. Maybe we'll get the same thing with Q*bert. It's all about 8-bit Battletoads. It is most definitely not about 8-bit Battletoads at all. I don't know why you would want to play that on an arcade cabinet. And I'm not being funny here. It's just all of us, are so ingrained into playing Battletoads with the NES controller, with a D-pad and buttons. Why would you try to play it with arcade controls? It makes it exponentially harder. Chris Zeek says, Arcade1Up could do limited runs directly with their Generation 1 cabs. Would have loved Ghost and Goblins artwork. Hard game, but the art is nice. Chris, have you ever seen the Ghost and Goblins proposed Countercade that was brought to E3 a couple of years ago? Not sure if it was E3 or CES, but man, that looked really good. Let's go, Brandon. I have no idea what that is. I think that's something from American politics. I'm Canadian. Any chance of a cruise in USA? Not this year. We got Ridge Racer. Don't expect to hear anything until Ridge Racer's had a good couple of months to kind of sell. And then after they do that, you'll get an announcement of a race, another racing cab, this year's racing cab, that'll be available for sale this time next year, if that makes sense. That's what they always do. Take it back? What, thanks for the super chat, How to Bachelor, but what do you mean take it back? I don't know. I'm trying to selfishly go through this in my mind. Like, if I had a game, Ghosts and Goblins is another excellent one. Like, say, for example, Ghosts and Goblins is your favorite arcade game of all time, and you really want a Ghosts and Goblins cabinet for your Arcade1Up collection, but it's not available. They're not going to make one. But, however, Ghosts and Goblins is on the Capcom Legacy cabinet or the Final Fight cabinet, but you don't like any of the other games, you're not in love with the other games, is that enough for you to go buy that cabinet just so you can play Ghosts and Goblins, even though it's not the marquee game? You don't get the total nostalgia, arcade nostalgia you would normally get. I don't know. Cabs are different. Robotron is an older Williams cab. Smash TV was a Midway cab. That's true. And it's not lost on me that people absolutely love the Smash TV art. It's a beautiful cabinet. It absolutely is. Beast Arcade asking, will you get Ridge Racer? It's not in the plans right now. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't have a lot of nostalgia for Ridge Racer. I think it's really cool for the people that want it. I know P-Dubs is picking it up. So yeah, I'm excited for them. But like, if I think Ridge Racer, I think PlayStation 1. I don't think arcade. It's just after my time. Sterling, you're 100% right, but the caveat there is those cabinets are legacy cabinets, and this one is going to be a dedicated cabinet. So unless they come out with a legacy cabinet down the line, I don't know if I'm going to be in luck. Oh, that's fair. That's fair. I apologize, How to Bachelor. I apologize. For the people that are excited to see Battletoads, 8-bit Battletoads on the Killer Instinct cabinet, amazing. Happy for you. Just don't try to play the Turbo Tunnels 2-player. You'll hate yourself. Jason, it's all about the marquee game. That's what I'm kind of saying. Aeromed with the cool sticky there. Thank you very much for the big super chat, brother. You didn't have to do that, man. Made in Canada. So you're going the other way. That is a big deal to you. One of the reasons I picked up Capcom Legacy is because it had Ghosts and Goblins. And I'm a bit of a hypocrite here because I'll openly tell you, one of the big reasons I got the Capcom Legacy was I sold my Street Fighter and my Final Fight so I could consolidate. So there, even though I love Final Fight, one of my favorite beat-em-up games of all time, I was willing to have it as a secondary game on the cabinet. So I admit I can be a little bit hypocritical at times. It's a bit of a weird thing, and it also doesn't fall on me that I don't have multicades, like multicades down in my Arcade1Up room. So I'll play devil's advocate here. The opportunity to have Robotron in that arcade, even though it's not on the original cabinet, might eventually come back around. Like, for me, yes, Schnid, this is kind of where I'm leaning right now. I'm trying to not buy everything for the sake of buying it. I'm trying to really buy with my heart, interest, and nostalgia, and not just buy because I get caught up and excited. So, I mean, I don't know where I stand. I think right now I wanted a Robotron cabinet. I'm getting a cabinet that's cool, that has Robotron on it, but I don't know if that's enough to get me to buy it. So is Blitz a possible Super Bowl reveal or just a pipe dream? Vic Vicious, I would absolutely be floored if we didn't get Blitz this year. I'm going to be honest with you. If they don't announce Blitz this year, I would be very, very surprised. To be honest, I'm still surprised they didn't announce it last year. Oh, Art. I kind of explained this in my video there a little while ago. Going back, I've been on YouTube for a long time, watching YouTube, and I started watching a show called Arcade Impossible, and that's where I eventually started really getting into arcade games years ago. So on Arcade Impossible, one of the big things that they got was Robotron, and that's kind of what gave me a lot of nostalgia for it, was that game, and then John's Arcade, watching all these other arcade shows and watching people saying this is the definitive arcade experience. Then I started trying it for myself and just absolutely fell in love with it. It is my favorite game, and because of that nostalgia, those memories, watching those people do it, that's where my nostalgia for the game comes. Hobby Hands says, what cab would you give up for Robotron? Hobby Hands, I don't have to give up any cab for Robotron because I'm currently sitting at space for one, if not two, more Arcade1Up cabinets in my arcade since I sold my Marvel and Star Wars Arcade1Up pinball cabinets. So I actually have a little bit of spare space down in my arcade right now that I'm kind of... I think if I only have room for one, T2 might be the one I bring in. We'll see. But if I decide not to get T2, I think I'm leaning towards Dragon's Lair. And I know I can play Dragon's Lair on my arcade, and it's a great version of Dragon's Lair, but it's not Dragon's Lair. It doesn't have the original artwork, the look, and yeah. Exactly. Robotron is a Zen-type experience. You get in the zone, baby. There's some times where I just bomb out and I have a rough time with Robotron. There's other times where you just start killing stuff. You get in a groove, all the bright lights, everything happening. Man, those early Williams games, arcade games, every time I try to turn them on, I feel like I'm having a seizure. And it's just so goddamn good. P-Dubs, P-Dubs is going to get Blitz. And I think the key with Blitz is not just getting it, and that's going to be a hard one, but, I mean, the writing's kind of on the wall. The fact that John D. wanted to have the Super Bowl Arcade1Up weekly show last year, the fact that they're doing this NFL tie-in promotion with the Dolphins, I mean, there's too much there. The fact that they're not announcing any new cabinets till February, which I think is two-sided, that they're also giving these cabinets, these three ones that just came out, T2, Killer Instinct, and Ridge Racer, time to sell before they announce anything else. But also, I mean, the Super Bowl, right? Exactly. And that's the other thing about Robotron and X Games Legends Ultimate. It's perfect. It's perfection. The only thing I'm missing when playing it on the X Games Legends Ultimate is the cabinet. So if I can't get the cabinet, I don't know if I want to spend $1,000 to play Robotron down in my basement when I can play it up here. It's tough. It's so tough. And I've realized, again, that I'm in a different experience where I also have multicades. Not everybody does the multicade stuff. Rev calling a Blitz game would be great. Yeah, 100%. I think Rev could just make just about anything interesting. I'd be more excited for an NFL Arcade1Up if it wasn't one of the worst NFL games ever in Blitz. See, people all have different opinions. I'm going to be honest with you. I wouldn't get Blitz. I don't have any nostalgia for Blitz. I never played it in the arcade. My guess, Bob, is they're going to announce Blitz right around the Super Bowl. They like to tie things in. That makes the most sense. If Blitz is coming, that's what they're going to do. Michael B., as I Arcade, always says, buy the game and support the developer. 100%. But, yes, I will buy the game and support the developer when it's sensible. I'm not going to spend $1,000 on a Smash TV cab, which I'm not interested in and don't like the artwork, and don't want the artwork in my arcade taking up space just to play the game. So, if it was on iArcade and I could buy it for, $10, sure, I would 100% buy it on my arcade to be that good dude to support the developer. But I'm not supporting the developer. I'm spending way too much money on a cabinet I don't want. It's a weird thing. This is not... We're not talking about buying games. It's not even... this would probably be different when Arcade1Ups were still down around that $3.99 range. But, Man, it's $1,000 now. All right, P-Dubs, you have a good night, brother. Sorry you couldn't stay. Well, the show's almost over anyways, but thank you very much, man. I know I'm probably just complaining a bit tonight. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. I'm just trying to gauge from you guys how you feel. What's more important in your Arcade1Up buying? If you have a favorite game, are you content? Like Galaga, for example. Are you content being the biggest Galaga fan in the world and just having it as a secondary game on a Pac-Man cab? Or would you prefer a Galaga cabinet? Or are you in the middle and you like that Class 81? Michael B., what about the ALU, but with the matching Pixelcade marquee? At least the game you're playing has the matching marquee. See, not with the Pixelcade, but this is why I'm very interested in the Bit Pixel. Because once I get the Bit Pixel, not the Bit Pixel, the Bit LCD, the fact that you can have the accurate marquee above the game you're playing is going to add so many levels to playing stuff on the Legends Ultimate. It's going to make it so much more exciting. You know what I want. An arcade doesn't sound like an arcade unless you hear a Robotron playing in the background. 100%. Robin Rising, I'd much prefer a two-player cab. If you're talking about Robotron compared to Smash, I think even if they did the right Robotron artwork, it would still be a two-player cab. So what they would do is they just change the control panel. It's like the Tempest cab, the Atari Legacy. I mean, it doesn't have an exact replication of the Atari Tempest control panel. It's modified because every Arcade1Up, except for Terminator 2, is in essence a multicade. So it has to be slightly modified to fit the multiple games on it. And some people are different. I'm fine with Galaga on my Pac-Man, but not with Tron being a secondary game. So, yeah. Yeah, I just recently bought a new PC for my Legends Pinball, and I'm just now getting into the world of visual pinball and even playing the Zen pinball games on that machine, and it makes such a big difference for the immersion, when you see the game being played on the playfield, and then you can look up, you don't just see the DMD, but you also see the back glass there too, so boom. Oh, Sean P. John D. was on, I forget where it was, I think he was in the comments of somebody's show there the other night, and they asked about a Robotron cab, and it's not going to happen. If it does happen, you're going to be in a similar boat as with Terminator 2, where you're just going to get the two Robotron games, that's it. Long and low, yeah, it's with the beat 'em ups. Unless you're very, very, very into that beat 'em up, and you want to play it over and over again, buy at your own risk. Not everybody's going to want to do it. I know we got a guy, Mario Arena, here in Canada. He just recently picked up The Simpsons, and he's really disappointed because he knew what he'd have with a beat 'em up game, but what he was hoping for is that the online area would be much more exciting. There would constantly be people on, so you can go and play through the campaign with, which would add a lot of replayability. But he's not having a lot of luck finding other people to play through The Simpsons with. Had a bachelor. John D was drunk, and I don't know about that. I've had him on my show a bunch of times. I've never seen him drunk. Yeah, see, here's the thing. Almost, I would have preferred that too. Like, I've been fighting with them about that with that Midway Legacy cap. Take Paperboy the hell off that. There's no reason to have Paperboy on it. You're not giving people Paperboy. Like, it's horrible. Oh, Berserk would be a good game. Love Berserk. Depends on the era. Because the era changed. Like, when it was the 80s, yeah, they were coin eaters, but they're coin eaters in a different way, that there was this challenge to it. You might get your ass kicked, but it was just hard enough that you felt a glimmer of hope that you could come back and get just a little bit further. So that's where the score chasing idea comes in. When you hit the 90s, we really hit that beat 'em up phase, and where all the games were pay to continue instead of pay to try again. So that's where the difference came. Yeah, that's where I'm too right now, Jeff. I'm in the same boat. I'm right now. I don't know if I'm going to buy Smash TV. I guess we'll find out when it comes out. But I'm hoping that eventually, maybe somewhere down the line, I'll get lucky and they'll do a Robotron as well. I don't think I would buy it and reskin it, but that's just me. Robotron 2085. What are the chances of my two holy grails, 6-player X-Men and sit-down Afterburner? Man, that's tough. I mean, I don't know if they do a 6-player X-Men. That'd be, like, you would have to sell it direct, and shipping would be nuts. I don't know about Afterburner either. I don't have a lot of faith in Arcade1Up and sit-down games after Outrun and the Star Wars sit-down cabinet. I don't know if there's a way to do it. Yes, I love Zookeeper. Sometimes we got to think about these Arcade1Ups a little bit differently too. Like, I look at the Arcade1Ups, like I'm really interested in the Dragon's Lair cab, but the same reason I would get it as a quarter arcade. And you're saying, well, that's a very different thing that you're buying there, but not really. It's like a decoration. And I mean, people are willing to pay $200 and $300 sometimes for these quarter arcades and for these little tiny desk shit arcades. I'm willing to pay absolutely $600-700 to have a 3/4 scale replica that I can play like a real arcade that looks and plays exactly like the original. That's big for me. Zookeeper. Love Zookeeper. So the reason why I bring that up is they're actually coming out with a Zookeeper quarter arcade right now, and it'll be my 3rd quarter arcade. I've got Pac-Man and Miss Pac-Man back there. Yeah, Pro. Actually, that's a really good point. I didn't think about that long and low, but if they were ever going to do a 6-player X-Men, that would be the Pro offering from Arcade1Up for X-Men. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Hell, I might have to make a video on that. How can we get a 6-player X-Men Pro? Thank you very much, long and low. I'm going to steal that. Hey, Mad Dad's Gaming, what's happening, brother? I own a POW, the Escape Arcade. That is a great... Yeah, I love POW, but that's one of the ones I have a ton of nostalgia for, the POW NES game, and I know it's an arcade port. And when I play the arcade game, all I can really think about is the NES game. Oh, interesting. I paid $120 for the New Wave Dragon's Lair and never play it. Compared to if I... Yeah, see, it would be cool desk shit, and I love it, but when it gets down to playing, like, I like the quarter arcades. Like, I can play them. They're just big enough. But, I want something substantial enough that I can stand in front of, and it feels like an arcade. Brady Goat, we had a close call over the weekend. I thought Tom Brady was going to retire. I told my wife she was heartbroken, but doesn't look like it's real just yet. Anyways, guys, I've bored you to death with my complaints about Arcade1Up doing a Smash TV cab and not a Robotron cab. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I think Smash TV could be a very good cab for them, and I'm excited to see Robotron finally come out on Arcade1Up. I'm just saying, for someone that wanted a Robotron 2084, I don't know if having it on a secondary arcade is enough for me to buy that arcade. I don't feel like I'm getting Robotron. And I wanted to get some information from you guys and some of your feeling on how you felt about that. If your favorite game that you wanted was coming out on an Arcade1Up, but it wasn't the marquee game, so you weren't getting the artwork, controls, yada, 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 are you still interested enough in the arcade to pick it up, even though it's not your favorite game? That's kind of what I'm getting at here. And thank you guys so much for your feedback tonight. I don't know if my mind's made up. Like, I can't decide whether or not I would buy a Smash TV to play Robotron. Again, I'm spoiled. I have multicade that I can play Robotron on that works really well, but I don't know. I'm in the middle. So anyways, just a bit of an earworm here. Not complaining about Arcade1Up either. I get it. I understand. Well, thank you very much, Dan Z. So, no complaining about them. They're not doing anything wrong. -1 says, I don't like Smash TV or Total Carnage, so I would pass, even though I like 2084. C-Town says, you will buy it. There's always that option, right? I'll admit one thing, Smash TV is wicked fun. Sure. Anyways, guys, as long as I like the marquee game, then yes. And see, that's where I'm different than everybody else. I said this to Lewis Chambers one time, and he thought it was really weird. I don't play anything else except for the marquee game on the majority of my cabs. The other games don't really matter. I play it for the marquee game, and maybe that's a weird thing. Anyways, guys, I won't keep you any longer. There's lots of things to do. I'm going to get on my Legends Ultimate now and get through the Battletoads, beat them up to decide if I want to Killer Instinct Cab too. Anyways, guys, hope you guys have a wonderful night. Thank you so much for hanging out with me again this Monday. This has been Chillin' Chat. This was Chillin' Chat with Michael B.